Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to my channel Dr. Stock. So recently I have been receiving lot of requests to make a video tutorial on the basics of stock market. Now I understand that there are many 1 hour tutorials available online and good amount of material available on Google, but still I see that people are very much confused on how to go about the stock market and they are not able to comprehend it or execute it. So the intention of making this series is to give you a perspective on how the stock market works, things to consider before you plan your investment into the market, and where to look for or whom to approach in case anything goes wrong. In this series, we will be talking about each concept in short videos which are not more than 10 to 15 minutes long so that you can watch it anytime as per your convenience. I will also plan to record these lectures in Hindi if I get good amount of people's response in the comment section below. So अगर आप ये सीरीज को हिंदी में भी चाहते हैं तो please leave a comment. Alright, so let's start with the basics of stock market. I have divided this series into 11 small in which we will be talking about each of this section as we go along. So this is the first video of the series in which we will try to understand that why you should invest in a stock market. I'm assuming that since you have come here, you either have a goal to start investing in your stock market, or maybe you are not doing good and you wanted to brush up your basics before you start investing again. So, without getting further delay, let's start that why anyone should invest into a stock market. So, I just recently came across this quote that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And I'm not sure if you remember from your high school or schooling days about the compound interest. So I have put an example here to help you understand. So we are creating a scenario here. Let's say you start with your income of 40,000. You are at the age of 25 and your salary increases at 10% per annum and your cost of living increases by 8%. From your 40,000 salary that you receive every month, 25,000 goes into your expenses and the remaining 15,000 is saved as balance. And since you're at 25 now, you plan to retire by 50 and you don't want to work after the retirement. So this is a basic scenario. So let's say on the left one, you plan to save the balance that you receive every month of liquidity in your bank balance, and you keep on doing it year on year. So by the time you retire, you will have a balance of 2.5 crores. Now that is a pretty good balance considering that you're always keeping that cash in hand. Now let's say at the time you retire at age 50, now you have a balance of 2.5 crores and your still expenses are ongoing at a rate of 8% because of your lifestyle, and you keep on reducing that till 59. It will help you to sustain, but by the time your 60th year come, there will be some concerns that you will be start arising because you do not have enough cash to support you by the year 60th. Now considering a similar scenario, now let's say that amount that you received, that you were saving in your bank balance, on that you started investing, and with an annual rate of 12%, you started compounding it. From 2.5 crores, you will be ending up with a corpus of 8.4 crores. Pretty good, right? It is more than 2.5 to 2.7x of your current balance, which you would have had if you have not invested. And after retirement, if you see and you start increasing expense by the rate of again of 8%, you will see that you can sustain much longer. You can sustain twice of what you were able to sustain before. So you will start getting a short of money by the year of 22. Now I understand it is a little hypothetical example in which we have considered the high expenses by the time you retire, but I think you understand my point that investment initially might not look big, but when you compound it, it becomes really, really huge. I wanted to also demonstrate two things here. So, why you should invest? The primary reason is to give you financial security. Good amount of money should be there in your bank balance by the time you retire, so that you can enjoy your retirement. And the second thing is to fight inflation. Now, the amount of money that was there in your bank account, it is getting diminished, I would say, because there is no return on that money. And as the money grows, your previous balance might not be of the same value as it is in future. Imagine this: 20 years before, 1.5 lakhs value versus today. You can understand what I'm talking about. So your money has to beat the inflation, meet your current cost of living. Third thing is to create wealth for you and your family, so that you have a better corpus by the time you plan to retire. And the fourth one is to meet your financial aspirations. Maybe you want to buy a better car, or maybe a bigger house, or you wanted to spend good amount of time during vacations, for which your corpus can help you to achieve it. And the last thing is to save tax. I have given an example of PPF here. So if you at starting at the age of 25 and you plan to retire, let's say 30 years later, maybe at 55 years, and that time you just invest 1.5 lakhs right now, with an annual rate of return of 7.1%, with an investment of 45 lakhs in 30 years, you will be going home with 1.5 crores. So pretty good investment, I would say, which is completely tax free. So this is just one example of that how tax can be saved, and how that when the value matures at that time, how big does it look. Now, I am pretty sure that you are comfortable now that it's really important for you to invest for considering a longer term. But the next question would be that where to invest or how to invest. So for this lecture one, we will talk about where to invest. So I wanted to say that generally everyone lies under this risk profile rate. We call it low risk to high risk, and every person has somewhat this kind of a mindset. Either they are very conservative, or they are moderately aggressive, or they are very aggressive. So always remember that whenever you plan to invest, it always follows a risk to return ratio, that how riskier your investment is when you tend to get a return on it. So having said that, it really depends on how as you progresses in your age, that you might be very aggressive when you start the investment, and by the time you reach your retirement age, you will be very conservative. So considering that how a person changes and how a person's behavior, you could be lying anywhere from low risk to high risk range. So if you are a conservative person, you tend to invest in areas which has bonds, or which gives a fixed rate of return. They are pretty low, but still it gives a good rate of return, and you always have liquidity in hand. The only downside is that it is lower risk, so that has lower returns. Some also tend to invest in moderately aggressive way. So some people invest in real estate, some people invest in equity mutual funds, and some invest directly in stocks. So this is majorly a little riskier, but gives a higher return rate. And some people invest in aggressive mode, so there they have futures and options, and you can actually make a fortune if you are very very aggressive, and you're okay to lose good amount of money if it comes down to that. So generally people have a mix of everything, so that they have a complete portfolio, which I'll talk about. So if you look at this circle that I have drawn here, you'll see that there are generally four assets class that we call it, and everyone has their own risk to return ratio, which I will talk in this slide. So as I was mentioning on the fixed income instruments, so that are available in India, one is the fixed deposits, or FD, we call it. They give close to 5 to 7% these days, and depending on how much amount you're investing, or for how long you're investing, or how do you want the returns, do you want monthly, or do you want it to get compounded annually? That's how the return varies in India. And then there are some of the bonds issued by the government of India, or government agency, or corporates, where you could invest. So The advantage of fixed income is that it has a limited risk on the principal and is paid on the amount that you invest in this. Okay, so second one is equity. So when an investor invests in equity, there is no capital guarantee. So in the fixed income instrument, you have that your interest will be given to you over and above your principal, but the annual return rate is low. And in the equity, there is no guarantee of the capital return, but your annual rate of return is pretty high. So that is what the trade-off comes, that when the returns are higher, you tend to get a little more riskier. Also, one more thing is that on the equity, the taxation is pretty low. So if you're investing in India and you tend to hold one particular stock, let's say, for more than 1 year and earns more than 1 lakh on it, then you attract capital gain of 10%, which is taxable as per your returns. So that is on the equity. On the real estate, there are commercial and non-commercial land. There are majorly two sources of income in the commercial state. One is a rental income that you get, and another is a capital appreciation of the investment amount. So if you buy a 10 lakh rupee land and it appreciates to 15 lakhs, so that's a 5 lakh return that you might get. Now the problem is that there is no official metrics to determine the rate of return on real estate. So it very much depends on your luck, that how lucky you are by the time you invested and how it appreciated. And the fourth thing is on the commodities. So in India, this is also a very highly sought look after investment, that you tend to invest in metal like gold and silver, which appreciates over the years. And if you look at the long term period, they have appreciated in value, but the rate of return is not that great. If you ask me, I would say that these are the majorly four classifications of assets. And if you consider anyone around you, you would realize that people tend to have a mix of all of it. So once you reach your age of 30, 35, you will have a real estate, maybe a flat or maybe a house. You will have some stock, you will have some FDs, and maybe you will owning some gold, considering how you start accumulating that, or maybe some good amount of stocks in your portfolio. So depending on that, how you make it. So every person has a mix of all these assets, and depending on how aggressive or conservative they are, it could vary in percentage as a person goes along. So what are the key takeaways? So always remember that risk and return go hand in hand, and higher the risk, higher the returns; lower the risk, lower the returns. Investment in a fixed income is a good option as soon as your return rate is more than the inflation. What I mean by that is, if let's say your inflation is 5% and your FD rate is 6%, then that's a good investment. But if your FD rate is, let's say, comes down to 4 and inflation is going at 6, that means your value of money is reducing. So your investment should always beat the inflation. Third thing is that the investment in the real estate requires too much of cash, and that's why it becomes easier to invest into the equity market first, and then people tend to, once they accumulate good amount of money, then they tend to invest in the real estate. The next point is that the gold and silver are really good investments, but the yearly returns are not that great. The last point is that investment in equities is a really good option. You can choose mutual funds which provides you 12 to 15% of return, and there are many of them, which tells that in the past 5 years or 8 years since they have started, how much return they are being giving. There is another thing, that you can educate yourself to earn as high as 18 to 20% of year-on-year return from the equity market. But in this, you have to do all the hard work on your own. Good hold on the stock market basics, and you know what you're doing, then you can go to invest yourself. Or I would say you can choose mutual fund or start an SIP, where you will be starting investing a small amount into the mutual funds. So for that, I want to say thank you for watching. In part 2, we will dwell into the equity market and understand about the regulators and the regulatory bodies in India, and how this stock market is controlled, and what all steps are taken by the government. Retail investors' interest is taken into account. Thank you.